good evening, everyone. We are live. We're going to start off this live stream actually by going over round two. Really wasn't much in this series between Washington and Carolina. I did get that one wrong. So just to keep in mind, well, I guess I'll talk about it. God damn it, my AC just came on. I gotta turn it off because it's too loud. Alright, hopefully it should turn off in just a minute. But I did get that one wrong. What ended up happening was when the Capitals went down 3-1, they fell to 5-4 in the playoffs. And they're 4-8 against them. I'm not sure if that has any significance. Carolina did get their 105th playoff win all time. That is significant because Alex Ovechkin was born on the day, leaving 105 days left in the year. So they got their 87th playoff win as the Hurricanes. I know National Hockey League equals 87. 55, they got their 55th win of the season. That's significant as well. All right. Toronto versus Florida. I thought Florida was going to close it out in 6. They did not. They ended up closing it out in 7. They got their 55th win of the season as well. And what ended up happening was, I guess I don't have it in here, but the Leafs, they won their first round 4-2, lost their second round 3-4, which meant they fell to 7-6. Or they finished these playoffs 7-6. And if we just go over here. Whoops. Florida Panthers 76. Leafs were 7-6 in the playoffs this year. Okay, good. The AC is now off. All right. Vegas and Edmonton. I thought the 83 would play in favor of the Knights. Instead, it ended up playing in favor of the Oilers. The Oilers are now 8-3 in the playoffs. So yeah, they won that game 5. To improve to 8-3 in the playoffs. I don't know if there's any. So they improved to, or Vegas fell to 5-6 against Edmonton in the playoffs, and Edmonton got their 56th win of the season. Also, Vegas finished the season with 55 wins. That's another theme. All right, Winnipeg and Dallas. Actually, I didn't. That's funny. I didn't post a pick for this one on here, but if you go back and watch my live stream, I think I was thinking it would be Stars in 5 or 6, but most likely 5. They ended up winning it in 6, which that makes sense because now their home record, now the Stars' home record in these playoffs is 6-1. Winnipeg Jets 61, and we'll talk about 216 in a little bit. The Jets ended up getting their, they got their 30, what was it? In game 3 of that series, they ended up getting their 36th playoff loss as the Jets, when 216 is 6 times 6 times 6, when 666 is the 36th triangular number, and then, well actually no, sorry, and then the Stars ended up finishing the series by getting their 216th playoff win all time. And the game-winning goal was scored by number 55, Thomas Harley, while number 55, Mark Scheifele, was in the penalty box. Satan equals 55, number of the beast equals 66. You get the idea. Let me see if there's anything else there. Oh yeah, and they became 5-5 against each other for the season. The Jets also stayed on 27 wins all time against the Stars. When Dallas Stars equals 27, that's as their time as the Winnipeg Jets, not including their time as the Thrashers. All right, so I missed 2, but I got 2, so that's. It's not the end of the world, but it could have done a little bit better. All right, now moving on to the conference finals. Starting off with Carolina and Florida. This is an interesting one. The riddle that stood out to me the most, though, was where was it? Hold on, sorry. So 166 is the 166 is a semi-prime, but now I'm forgetting which semi-prime it is. Hold on. To go back to my semi-prime list. 166 is the fifth. That's right. It's 166 is the 55th semi-prime. Right. So that was key with the Panthers getting their 55th win of the season, because Florida Panthers equals 166. Is that a sign that they will improve to, if they win the series in 5 games, they'll be 16-6 in conference finals games, and if they win that game 5, that would be in Raleigh. Raleigh NC equals 166. Well, they could also win in 7, I'm thinking, because Sergei Bobrovsky, if the Panthers win in 7, Bobrovsky would be 12-5 in conference finals game. 125 is 5 cubed. Hurricanes and Carolina both equal 53. On the Hurricane side, actually not on the Hurricane side, on the Panthers side, as I said, if the Panthers win it in 5 or 7, they would get that. That would take place at the Lenovo Center where the Hurricanes play, and the Hurricanes would get their 59th playoff loss as the Hurricanes. And also, if it goes 7, they've only played one time. That was in the conference finals a couple years ago. So Carolina's 0-4 against them. If they lose in 7, they'll fall to 3-8 against them. Florida and Panthers both equal 38. But Lenovo Center does equal 59. Is that a sign that Carolina is going to get their 59th win of the season? Right, Raleigh, North Carolina equals 109. They're going to win 4 to get to 109. Maybe they'll win in 7 to get to 109 and 109. Or are they going to win it on the road, get their 91st win as the Hurricanes in Sunrise, Florida? But Lenovo Center equaling 59, that can also play for the, I believe they have the same. Yeah, okay, so they both have 55 wins on the season. Lenovo Center equals 59. Yeah, the Panthers are going to get that. One of their nicknames is the Cats. I included that. I don't know why, but it does equal 43. They're going to get that 43rd loss this season, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, Florida's 8-4 in these playoffs. Florida equals 124. Are they going to sweep again, or the 1-2-4 could go in Carolina's favor too? Because then they could, if they win in 6. Yeah, and if Carolina does win the series on the road, they'll get to 3-3 all time in conference finals when Sunrise equals 33. But yeah, 166. I was just talking about. If Florida wins in 5, they would be 16-6 in conference finals games when Florida Panthers and Raleigh NC both equal 166. That's why the Panthers have actually never lost a conference finals. Wow, can you believe that? Just because they've rarely been this far. Yeah, Brindamore, is he gonna get his 50th win as a coach, in the 50th playoff win as a coach? Or is he going to bow out with his 42nd loss? Yeah, the Paul Maurice's conference finals record, that could play either way. Either he'll get to 17, Lenovo Center equals 59, the 17th prime, or he could get his 16th loss. Hurricanes and Carolina both equal 53, the 16th prime. I didn't see anything that stood out for Frederick Anderson. But yeah, I'm thinking Panthers in 5 or 7 because I think they will win. They will win it on the road in Carolina. I guess one thing I should put, well, it's actually not really it's not that great because we don't really know exactly how the games are going to go. But I think maybe as we get closer to the series end, it'd be good to look at their home and away records for not only the playoffs as a whole, but also these playoffs. Because I think right now Florida is 3-2 at home and 5-2 on the road, and Carolina is 5-0 at home and is that right? They're 5-0. Yeah, 5-0 at home and 3-2 on the road. Okay. That was a little confusing, but I had to figure that one out. Yeah, I am thinking Panthers in this one. I think they'll get to their third straight Stanley Cup final. Whether they win it or not is something to be talked about later. But all right, next we'll move on. Dallas versus Edmonton. If the Stars do win the series in Edmonton, they'll get their 103rd head-to-head win against the Oilers since moving to Dallas. Edmonton AB equals 103. That's the 27th prime. Dallas Stars equal 27. But to me, the one that stands out here is the best riddle for the Stars. They get their 33rd head-to-head playoff win against the Oilers. Oilers equals 33. And they could fall. They could get their 23rd loss. Alberta does equal 23. Edmonton's in Alberta, of course. They've played 9 playoff series against each other if you include their times in North Stars. So Edmonton's 3-6 against them. Edmonton does equal 37. I mean, Dallas does equal 41. Does that mean they're going to finish the season with 41 losses? Not sure yet. But if they do win in 5, this is another thing too. If the Stars win in 5, which is what I'm thinking they do, they'll get to 12-6 in the playoffs. Dallas Stars 126. And just for a bit of a history lesson, the wrong tab up. Sorry. Where'd it go? Okay. What the heck is that? Alright, let's go on a little bit of a history lesson right here. Let's go to... Here, let's go. Dallas Stars playoff record in 1999. So here... Oh, well, I guess it... Let's do before June 9th. Won't even tell us that? Okay. No, okay, it won't. But anyways, the Stars went 16-7 in the playoffs in 1999 when they last won the Cup. But that means if you look at their record through 18 games, so we know they're 15-7, 14-7, 14-6, 13-6. Oh, look at that, 12-6. They were 12-6 after 18 games back in 1999. Let's look at their playoff record in 2000. I'm pretty sure they also started off 12-6. Shoot, this is going to be harder to tell. But let's just do 2000 Stanley Cup playoffs. So you can see here, Dallas 4-1, then 4-1 against. They're 8-2. And then they beat Colorado in 7. Just that's what they always do. So then they were 12-5, and then they lost their first game to fall to 12-6. So, and then if we go to 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs, and now I know they did play some exhibition games. Or no, Stanley Cup qualifiers, that's what they called it. So I don't know if this, they were 1-2 in those, but if you don't include those, they were 4-2, and then they were 4-3, so that's 8-5, and then 12-6. Um, if you do include those, they're 1 and 2 plus 4 and 2, so that's 5 and 4, and then yeah. So if you include those Stanley Cup qualifiers, they were not 12 and 6. But if you just include like the playoff series games, they were 12 and 6 entering the Stanley Cup final. So that does make me think that. Oops. Hang on, I need to switch windows. Okay, back to here. That does make me think that the Stars will win in 5. I don't think they'll sweep, but I do think they'll win in 5. I'll touch on the symbolism of that later, but although they could also get their 126th loss as the Stars. That doesn't mean it has to happen now. Edmonton, Alberta does equal 60 if the Oilers do get their 60th playoff win, but Dallas does equal 41. They're on 37 losses for the season right now. Although the 126 could play in the Oilers' favor if the Oilers do win in 7. But to me, two of the things that stood out: Pete DeBoer has 96 playoff wins. Edmonton equals 100. He's 2 and 5 in the conference finals. Edmonton equals 35. And Jake Ottinger is also looking for his 35th playoff win. And what's very interesting is if the Stars do win in 5, that will be on JFK's birthday. JFK. So let me just pull up the schedule here just to show you. Game 5, Thursday, May 29th. May 29th. Again, he was the 35th president. All right. 35th president. Hold on. This isn't actually going to help us, but actually, hold on. Let me just do this here. All right. 149 is the 35th prime. And guess what day of the year May 29th is? Oh, look at that, the 149th day of the year. It's also the day leaving 216 days left in the year, like American Airlines Center equals 216. So that makes a lot of sense. Jake Ottinger getting his 35th win of the year on President number 35's birthday on the 149th day of the year, which is the 35th prime, against Edmonton, which equals 35. That makes a lot of sense to me. We'll see if that happens. That is kind of obvious, but then again, sometimes it is obvious. I don't know. I guess one other thing that I can talk about is back a few weeks ago, or it may have been more than a few weeks ago. I'll have to find the video, or maybe I'll just search it. Just search. Okay, so I've talked about this earlier, how the Panthers and Stars met earlier this year in Finland, and they played 2 games. There's Stars, Panthers, 2024. All right, you can see here they played 2 games in Finland. The Panthers won both, so they outscored them across the 2 games 10-6. All right, 106 is the 35th semi-prime. See here, 106, 35th semi-prime. We were just talking about 35. And Pete DeBoer and Paul Maurice, I mentioned this in a previous live stream. They've had this long relationship because they followed each other throughout junior hockey, and now they've both kind of been coaching in the NHL for a while, and they're both kind of like the legacy of failure coaches. Like they'd be on good teams, but they'd never quite win the cup. Maurice kind of got that monkey off his back last year, or at least I should say the script had him get that monkey off his back last year. And now Pete DeBoer, who's actually just only a year younger than Paul Maurice, he could end up doing the same thing this year. But yeah, they posted 2 videos here when they had a sit down, met up for coffee and conversation while in Tampere, Finland. Because these coaches, while they might appear to be employees of different teams, they're really friends when you get behind the scenes. All right, let me just switch back to the notes tab. See if there's anything left to cover. And someone had mentioned this in a comment that, Chris Knoblauch can get his 27th win. His 27th playoff win. Dallas Stars does equal 27. Of course, that's a huge number with them. But I don't know. The Catholic theme, to me, seems to be a little bit more prevalent. All games and all series will have riddles in both directions, but some riddles are just a lot stronger than others. Yes, I do think it would be kind of fitting, in my opinion at least, if Pete DeBoer and Paul Maurice finally faced off against each other in the playoffs. Let's just read what it says in the description of the video. It says, the coaches share memories of how hockey has helped shape both their lifelong friendship and careers in the NHL. I do want to see how many... When Paul Maurice won the Stanley Cup last year, how many playoff wins did he have? So that would be here. So 78 minus 8 is 70. Okay, that's interesting because that 214 is the 70th semi-prime, and the Pope just died on 21/4, and the Stars had a big connection with that. Okay. I might have to think about that a little bit more, but I'm sure there's some connection here with Paul Maurice, and there's some other connection other than their similar coaching paths. There might be more to it that I'm just not seeing right now. I guess I should look at the date of if the Panthers or Hurricanes. If that goes 7, that's the 152nd day of the year. It's the day leaving. It's day leaving 213 days left in the year, which is... I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've done, because I live in Texas, I've done more research about Dallas history and stuff, so the JFK thing just kind of seems pretty obvious. I don't know, and there might be something about Carolina or Florida's state history on one of these days that I just don't know about, but yeah, we'll see where this goes. I do have to get up early tomorrow, so I'll be getting ready for bed in just a few minutes. But yeah, let's see. What are you agency opinions on? Yeah, I do think this. I have thought for a while that the Stanley Cup will start on June 7th, and yeah, Hurricanes and Oilers would be interesting. that was actually the first Stanley Cup Finals that I watched. Actually, I don't think I really watched it because we didn't have cable back then. But that was the first one that I was following back when I was like 9 years old. Um, the Oilers would be interesting because Alberta's in the news for um, because they're like thinking about joining the U.S. or something like that. I haven't been paying close enough attention to it, but I think that would be interesting. But then again, it's also like maybe Edmonton's going to fall to the Stars, and maybe that'll be like symbolic of saying they're not going to join the Stars, or maybe it'll be symbolic saying like, hey, they're going to succumb to the Stars, and maybe that's a sign that Alberta is going to join the country with stars on its flag. I don't know. So you're saying the Hurricanes and Oilers played on? Oh, that was the day that the Blue Jackets and Red Wings had their outdoor game. Um, Hurricane Milton. Yeah, I mean that is interesting, but I mean there are a lot of hurricanes. Like, yeah, the Hurricanes' only Stanley Cup championship came right after Hurricane Katrina, but Hurricane Katrina didn't come to the Carolinas; it came to the Gulf Coast. Um, yeah, there's still a lot of things to figure out, but I'm liking this. I'm liking this Ottinger 35 on Ottinger getting his 35th playoff win on JFK's birthday, which is the 149th day of the year of the 35th prime, when he was the 35th president. To me, that makes the most sense. I've been saying since last offseason that this whole season will be connected to the Kennedy curse, and so far it is playing out that way. Um, yeah, it'll be his 108th birthday. Oops, wrong one. American Airlines Center 108. I mean, to me, that makes the most sense. Yeah, and it would also be his. It would be It would be the Stars' 62nd win of the season. I think also just Ottinger's. No, it's 113. That's what it is. Okay, maybe I'm misremembering. But whenever I talk about his nicknames, what does that equal? Huh. It is their 57th season of play. That's interesting. But yeah, I think that's enough for now. Let's see. Right, he was born this last time. He was also born the same year that the Stars moved from Minnesota to Dallas in 93, the 32nd semi-prime. The sun is 93 million miles away, 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. Yeah, Mike Modano had 93 points in the Stars' last season in Minnesota and first season in Dallas. So you're saying they would get their 64th win of the season? Hold on, what was the Oilers? What was their? They had 40. Yeah, they did have 48 wins. They would get 64. Could be. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna sign off now.